High Desert State Prison would first open its doors in 1995 and today houses over 1,700 minimum to maximum custody incarcerated inmates. Back on January 25th, 2024, at approximately 1:40 p.m., correctional staff would observe convicted murderer Albaro Amaral stabbing repeatedly a fellow inmate. And although staff was quickly able to respond, first issuing verbal orders to stop and get down, Amarol would completely ignore those orders. Then a warning shot would be fired from a Mini 14 rifle, which also had zero effect. And Albaro Amaral would continue stabbing that inmate. Finally, staff would take the next and final step, firing multiple rounds from that Mini 14 assault rifle, killing Albaro Amaral.
Like with the recon though, man.
Yeah, when you went like this, it was like,
You got the 100 each East to the west. And if you don't like it,
Off the chat, straight up.
if you don't like it, get it.
What's going on, you guys? Welcome back. Another episode of Green Lit Gang TV. Much love, much appreciation. Thank you guys so much for checking out the channel today. It means a lot that you are here. Really quick, before I jump into it, let's do the intros. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Thank you for taking the time to watch the video. I really hope you like it. If you do like it, go back, check out some other videos, check out some other content, and let me know what you think. If you're a regular member, viewer, subscriber to this channel, then 2025 has been a great year because each and every one of you has continued to support, has continued to comment, engage, like, subscribe, all the above. So again, I genuinely appreciate it. Lastly, if you like what you see, if you like what you hear, hit the like button, hit the comment button, engage, it's a conversation, and smash the subscribe button. Let's roll. All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Okay, so I want to get one final video out before the end of the weekend. We're going to be covering a use of deadly force incident that took place at High Desert State Prison. High Desert State Prison is definitely a prison we have visited quite frequently throughout this year on this channel. Just seems to be a very violent place. And that is no exception in this case. Albaro Amaral, a convicted murderer, Southsider Sureno gang member from San Jose. We're going to be talking about the murder that he committed and the two attempted murders he committed that landed him at High Desert State Prison. I got some good background information on him. But first, let's start with the incident that we talked about in the intro. The High Desert State Prison Investigative Services Unit, CDCR's Deadly Force Investigation Team, and the Lassen County District Attorney's Office are investigating the death of an incarcerated person who was fatally shot by a correctional officer as he was stabbing another incarcerated person. On Thursday, January 25th at approximately 1:40 p.m., correctional staff observed Albaro Amaral stabbing another incarcerated individual. Staff quickly responded, first issuing verbal orders to stop and get down, which were ignored. A warning shot from a Mini 14 rifle would be fired, which had no effect. When he continued, staff fired additional rounds, hitting Amarol. And although staff quickly initiated life-saving measures and summoned emergency services, Amarol, 33, was taken to an on-site medical facility and at 2:09 p.m. was pronounced deceased. The other incarcerated person was transported to an outside medical facility for treatment, where he was deemed in fair condition. You got to picture that guy, man. You're sitting there getting stabbed. Your life's probably going to be taken. And we think about all the stories that we cover on this channel where staff really does nothing and these people ended up, losing their lives. Well, in this case, you got to thank the correctional officers. They did their job, and they did their jobs correctly. You're first, issuing a verbal order to stop, then you're firing warning shots, and at that point, it's like basically, Albaro Amaral left them with no other option, right? There's just no other way to go. It's kind of kill or be killed at that point. No staff or other incarcerated people were injured. An inmate manufactured weapon was recovered at the scene. The officer deployed the Mini 14 round is currently on administrative leave consistent with CDCR policy, and that's what it is across the board. Same thing with police out on the street. They're involved in a police, shooting, whether it's deadly force or not. They're still going to be put on administrative leave, and they have to do like a formal investigation. Amarol was most recently admitted to CDCR from Santa Cruz County on October 27th, 2021 to serve life with the possibility of parole for first-degree murder, attempted first-degree murder, attempted second-degree murder, carjacking, possession or ownership of a firearm by a felon or addict, and possession of ammunition by a prohibited person, all as a second striker. He also received enhancements for intentional discharge of a firearm, causing great bodily injury or death, and use of a firearm. Officials have limited movement on the yard where the incident happened to facilitate the investigation. Okay, so Albaro Amaral, definitely a violent guy. He had a pretty high-profile case that happened just a few years ago. It was a murder and two attempted murders of the witnesses. This is an article from July 10th of 2020. He basically killed a fellow gang member. He killed a fellow Southsider, Sureno gang member, kind of like on a mountain road in San Jose. We're going to read about his arrest, and then we're going to jump ahead about a year and a half about his sentencing for that murder and those attempted murders. So July 10th of 2020, a San Jose man has been arrested in the June murder of a man in the Santa Cruz Mountains. On June 14th, Santa Cruz County Sheriff's deputies responded to reports of a man with a gun on the 1700 block of Laurel Road and Highway 17. Deputies found a man suffering from a gunshot wound, and he was pronounced dead at the scene. He was identified as 27-year-old Kevin Medina Lopez. I put a picture up of him. The two other victims were located who the gunman had attempted to shoot, the sheriff's office said. Sheriff's detective identified the suspect as 30-year-old Albaro Amaral and issued a warrant for his arrest. Amarol was taken into custody near a San Jose home without incident. He was being held in the Santa Cruz County main jail on a $1 million bond for charges including murder and attempted murder. And the two witnesses that he tried to shoot were actually both females. Okay, so fast forward, he goes through, kind of fights the case. His sentence was absolutely crazy. So this is October 22nd, 2021. A man was sentenced on October 15th to 127 years to life in prison for a murder that happened on a rural Santa Cruz mountain road, District Attorney Jeff Roselle recently announced. Albaro Amaral Montalvo Jr. was convicted of the murder of Kevin Medina Lopez, so he took it all the way to the box. On June 14th, 2020, Montalvo shot Medina Lopez in the back of the head with a smaller caliber firearm, Roselle's office said. Montalvo then turned the firearm on two female witnesses, shooting one in the hand and the face and attempting but failing to shoot the other. That's insane. Both women are able to escape. The defendant also fled the scene, taking Medina Lopez's vehicle and evading apprehension for several weeks. With the assistance of other individuals, Montalvo set the stolen vehicle on fire to get rid of the weapons used for the murder. After an extensive investigation by the Santa Cruz County Sheriff's Office, Montalvo was found several weeks later and arrested. He was charged with murder, attempted murder, carjacking, intentional discharge of a firearm, being a felon in possession of firearms and ammunition, and having previously been convicted of a serious or violent felony. Montalvo was found guilty on all charges and special allegations. So he took it all to the box. Basically, at that point, it's like you kind of got nothing to lose. You're a previously convicted felon. You're a known gang member. You're getting into it with another gang member. A lot of enhancements. You attempted to shoot two female witnesses. You might as well take it to trial, right? At that point, they're going to be putting you away for life. So whether it's, 50 to life, whatever it is, it just at that point, you see this with a lot of cases. They take it all the way to the box, man. They're going to stand tall. They're going to stand, on, their principles or what they deem to be their correct principles. And they're going to try to, 1 in a million chance maybe they get off, or 1 in a million chance maybe a loophole, or the case gets thrown out on a technicality. You just never know. What are my thoughts on this? I think Albaro Amaral is a very violent individual. I think he's a very violent gang member. And I think just in general, the California prison system is a very violent place, and these things happen all the time. This happened at the very beginning of 2024, so almost 2 years ago. But it's just something that we continue to see. And to be honest, for a channel like mine, 2025, it kind of has dawned on me as we're getting into like this last quarter of the year, just how many stories there are like this. And this is just California alone. Sometimes I venture out. I've done New Mexico. I've done Florida. I've done Texas. But California, man, just seems to be a cut above the rest when it comes to stories like these. The gang problem, the violence, it sometimes is honestly shocking. And I haven't talked about it in a while, guys, but I did in some of my earlier videos, and I really want to talk about, addiction, mental health, all that stuff. Guys, put yourselves first. Take care of yourselves. If you're struggling with any sort of substance abuse, if you're struggling with any sort of mental health, get the help. If you know any bit of my story, if you've been watching my channel at all, I got sober in March of 2020, and it absolutely changed my life. And I've had some really good feedback on this channel, and I just hope each and every one of you continues to have a good life. And if you are struggling, reach out for help. Anyway, thank you very much. Until next time, you already know what it is. Peace.